In this video, we're going to take a look at negative indices. So to begin with here, let's say I want to find the value of 4 to the power of -2. How would we do this here? Well, we need to be aware of the general rule. Let's say I've got a to the power of -n, and we can write this here as 1 over a to the power of n. Okay. So notice here what we do is we write a denominator of 1 underneath. We then flip it, so we get 1 over, and then we make the power positive. So I get a to the power of positive m. Okay? I'm just going to repeat that here with my example now. So 4 to the power of -2. So we begin here by writing the denominator of 1. I get 4 to the power of -2 over 1. We then flip this here. So in other words, this is what we call the reciprocal. I flip this here, so I'm now going to get 1 over 4. And my power now becomes positive. So instead of -2, we get +2. I get 1 over 4 squared. And 4 squared here is 16. So I get 1 over 16 here. Okay. And that would be the value there. So the value of 4 to the -2 is 1 over 16. Now, if we take a look at another example here, let's say we've got 5 to the -1. Again, how would we find the value here? Well, again, we just follow the same pattern. I just start by writing a denominator of 1. We then flip this here, so we take the reciprocal. So I'm going to get 1 over. This 5 then goes on the bottom here, and this power now becomes positive. I get 5 to the power of +1, or 5 to the power of 1. That's simply 5. I get 1 over 5 there. Okay? And that's the solution there. That's the value of 5 to the -1. What about now we've got 3 to the -3? So 3 to the power of -3, again, just finding the value here. So we start off by writing the denominator of 1 here. We then flip it. So I'm now going to get 1 over 3. And now my power here becomes positive. So that's 3 to the power of 3. Well, 3 cubed, that's 3 times 3, times it by 3 again. And that would give me 27. We get 1 over 27 there, and that would be the value. So finally, the only other thing to consider here is when we have a fraction. So let's say we've got 3 over 4. We've got 3 over 4, and this is to the power of -2. Okay? Well, the very first thing that I'm going to do here, rather than writing the denominator of 1 like we've done for the previous few examples here, when we already have a fraction like this, we can go straight away into flipping the fraction. What I'm going to get here then is 4 over 3. So just flip the fraction here and then make the power positive. So instead of -2 here, we get +2. Okay. Now, if we've got 4 over 3 squared, that's just the same as 4 over 3 times 4 over 3. Okay. What you might notice here is we can just write this then as 4 squared over 3 squared. Well, 4 squared, that's 16. 4 times 4 is 16. And then 3 squared, that's 3 times 3, giving me 9 there. So the value of 3 over 4 to the power of -2 is 16 over 9. Okay? Let's just take a look now at one more example here with a negative power for a fractional base like this. So let's say we've got 1 over 3 to the power of -1. Again, because we've already got a fraction here, we don't need to write the denominator of 1. We just flip it straight away. I'm now going to get 3 over 1. And my power now becomes positive. So instead of -1 here, we get +1. Well, in this case now, because I've got 3 over 1 to the power of 1, this is just the same as 3 to the power of 1 over 1 to the power of 1. Well, 3 to the power of 1 is 3. 1 to the power of 1 is 1. So I get 3 over 1. Which is simply 3 there. Okay? So like you can see, nothing too challenging, I don't think, for negative indices. But it will definitely get trickier in the next video when we take a look at fractional indices. And then in the next video after that for the exam revision for negative and fractional indices. But that's everything we need there for our introduction to negative indices. So now let's take a look at a quick practice question. So if we take a look now at this practice question here, for part A, we have to find the value of 4 to the power of -1. So 4 to the power of minus 1. So remember, the very first thing that we're going to do here is write a denominator of 1. Write the denominator of 1 here underneath. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the reciprocal here, and when we do that, we make the power positive. There's 4 to the minus 1 here, this power of minus 1, we make that positive. So flip this fraction here, and now I get 1 over 4, and make the power positive. So we get 1 over 4 to the power of 1, and remember 4 to the power of 1 is simply 4. So our final solution here is 1 over 4. The value of 4 to the minus 1 is simply a quarter. So moving on to B now. We've got 10 to the minus 2 here. So again, remember the very first thing that we do here is write a denominator of 1. Like so. So now what I'm going to do here is take the reciprocals. We're going to flip this fraction here, make this power, this negative power, positive. I'm going to get 1 over 10. And this power of minus 2 here, we make that positive. I've got 1 over 10 squared. And remember 10 squared, that's 10 times 10, so that would give me 100. But what I've got here is 1 over 100. Okay, and there we have it. So that's the solution to B. Moving on to C now, we've got 5 over 8 to the power of minus 1. So 5 over 8 to the power of minus 1. Now remember, we can write the denominator of 1 here and then flip it. But with a fraction, it's even easier. All I need to do here now is just flip this fraction. So 5 over 8, if we flip that, I'm going to get 8 over 5. And what I do here now is I make this power positive. So I've got 8 over 5, the power of positive 1. Well, in this case, it would give me 8 to the power of 1. And that would be over 5 to the power of 1. 8 to the power of 1 is 8. 5 to the power of 1 is 5. So we get 8 over 5 there. And then finally, moving on to D now. I've got 2 over 3 to the power of minus 3. So again here, the very first thing I'm going to do is flip this here, this fraction. We're going to get 3 over 2. And then this power here becomes positive. So minus 3, that becomes now positive 3 here. What I can do here now is write this as 3 to the power of 3. And that's divided by 2 to the power of 3. So from here then, 3 to the power of 3, that's 3 times 3 times 3. So that would give me 27. And then 2 to the power of 3, that's 2 times 2 times 2, giving me 8 there. We get 27 over 8, giving us the solution to D. And that gives us the solution there to question 1. So that actually brings the end of this video on negative indices. In the next video, we're going to take a look at fractional indices.